Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the third and final installment of my panning tips. So as you might have seen on my channel, if you've been following along the last couple of videos that I posted, I have been doing a mini series where I talk about my top tips for panning things in reflection. So I started off with lip products specifically. I did some tips on panning those, again mainly obviously targeted for specifically lip products. And then the second video was eyeshadow, so I did same thing. I did 5 tips on panning eyeshadow specifically because I feel like sometimes there is a little bit of a difference between those two categories and everything else. But today we are going to cover just that, everything else, so my top tips of panning everything else. Some of these tips, well, I guess majority of these tips can also apply to the other two categories, and some of the tips that I covered in there also apply to other, categories too, but I did kind of want to structure it that way because there is some tips that are more, focused on eyeshadows, some tips that are more focused on lip products, and then these are more generalized tips. So I'm gonna jump into the video and share with you the top 5 tips that I have for panning and the things that I do to try to get as much progress as I can. But before I do that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So the first tip that I have is kind of related to what you decide to roll into your project. So I said that pick products that you know you can use daily. So are you happy to use the same foundation every day? Roll that into a project. Are you someone who never ever reach for like color correctors? Maybe skip that one to a project unless it's something that you can incorporate and make into an everyday item, because having things that you can reach for every single day is really vital in order to make progress on them. Because if it's something that you can like use no brainer, just easily without thinking about it, for everyday looks or for like going to work, stuff like that, it is something that you will make a lot of progress on. So that is mainly what I do for my rolling project pan. So my project 10 pan, rolling project pan, I do work on 10 products at any point in time, and majority of those, I would say like 75% of those products, are things that I can easily reach for every single day without thinking about it. So for me personally, that is quite a wide category of things. It is mainly base products and like cheap products. So I personally am happy to reach for like the same foundation every day, same concealer, same powder, even bronzer, blush and highlight to some extent, but those are all categories that I am very happy reaching for the same thing every single day. And having those in the project means that I can actually make some really good progress on them. So that is something that you can consider. So for example, like color corrector, that is something that I personally, when I have them in projects, I make sure to reach for them because they are kind of in my daily routine and there's something that I'm tracking, and then I really do love using them. But whenever I roll them out of projects, I kind of forget about them. So that's kind of also what I mean. If there's a product that you might not reach for every day, but you think that you can if you roll into a project, then I would still kind of encourage reaching that for that. It's basically just having things that you can reach for every single day and that you don't necessarily need to like switch up, if that makes sense. That is tip number 1. The second tip that I have is to keep an everyday makeup bag or everyday makeup drawer. So for me, I have my desk behind me, and on each side of my desk, so like, each side here, I'm holding them right now, I have 2 short Alex drawers from IKEA storing like makeup and things like that. The one on my now right, so below on this side, is mainly makeup storage, but then on this side I do have a little bit of makeup, but mainly like kind of hair care and stuff like that, or like hair tools, things like that. I do again store mainly things there. However, behind me in this here, I can't open it now because, well, maybe I could actually, in here, this little container, which is my main desk, is a separate drawer. And in there I keep all of my everyday makeup stuff, and that is just to make it easier to have things on the go that I can just pull in, reach for very easily. Again, you don't have to have a full-on drawer if you don't have the space for it, if you don't have enough products for it. You can just do a makeup bag if you want to keep that in your bathroom or wherever you do your makeup. Keep products very accessible, that is both like covers your full routine, so that you have something for every single step of your routine. And of course, if you want some variety, you can maybe put in like 2 blushes, or whatever category you feel like you need options for. You can pull in more than one. For example, eyeshadow palettes, I do actually have it in a separate palette or like separate drawer. I have it like top drawer on this side. And I keep quite a few palettes in there. It's all things that I'm panning for the most part, but other things as well that I might just want to have in rotation, I keep there. But those are the drawers that I refer to on the daily when I just want like something simple. Even, you know, when I do something more complicated, like a look like this, I look for those drawers first, and then if I feel like I'm missing something, I can go into the rest of my like makeup storage. And doing that, so keeping a full routine but also all your product pan items, means that you have easy access to the products that you're panning and you are more likely to reach for them. So instead of having like storing them with the rest of your collection and maybe getting distracted of other things, like if you pull out your blush drawer and then like, you know, your product pan blush is in the midst of everything else, you might be like, oh, I want to reach for this blush today, that's my favorite, rather than reaching for your product pan one. And of course, allow yourself to reach for your favorite products, like for sure, but for like, again, everyday kind of looks. And if you go into the office, if it's early in the morning, you want a no-brainer kind of look, that is when you should go into those like everyday makeup drawers or makeup bags. So that's definitely a tip that I really recommend. It means that, again, it's easier to do your makeup, you don't get decision fatigue, and also you get more progress on your products. So tip number 3 I have put in is related kind of to tracking your makeup. So I put in, find a way of tracking your progress that motivates you. So it could be tallying usage, it could be measuring progress on a piece of paper, it could be taking progress pictures or weighing your products, anything else too, to be fair, but find a way that, you know, motivates you. Whichever way you find is the most motivating for you, you stick to that and make sure to track that every single month or wherever you update your progress. I would recommend doing it monthly just because I feel like that's a long enough time to get decent progress, but also not so long that you kind of neglect making progress until closer to your updates, if that makes sense. But having a way to visibly see your progress, it doesn't have to be photos. Like I said, it could be, you know, visually seeing the weight go down, or, you know, making marks on a piece of paper or even on the product itself. Just having those like actual differences makes a huge difference. It means you stay more motivated. It means that you can see like how the hard work kind of adds up, because some products that are more difficult, like especially like blushes and like cheek products, things like that, powder products, sometimes you can reach for them every single day. You might keep looking at it like nothing's happening to this pan, nothing's happening to this pan. And of course, you know, eventually you might have a dip or, you know, get a pan, things like that, and that is more exciting. But before that point, comparing it from one day to another might make you feel like you're not making any progress. But if you have, you know, again, something tangible to look at, so again, it could be product footage, so like in the video or a photo, it could be like the gram difference, or anything else like that. That really helps you stay motivated, just because you're looking at like a longer period. Because if you stare at the same product every single day, it might not look like you're making a difference, but if you're looking at a picture from a month ago and then a picture today, you will really see the difference. So it is another way to stay motivated, I think, and obviously staying motivated is one of the main backbones to making progress on your products, because if you're not motivated, if you feel like you're not making any progress, you're going to be kind of, you know, discouraged to reach for them, and then that does mean that your progress is going to slow down. So finding a way that tally your progress that works for you is really, really vital for making good progress on product pans. So the 4th tip that I have is to choose products of different difficulties. So having a project with only products that takes months and months to finish will make it very hard to make good progress, because again, similar to what I said, that will kind of bring down your motivation, and not being able to like see products roll out, or, you know, if you're doing a rolling style product pan, rolling new things in, it does become quite tedious and like repetitive. So I would like scatter in a couple more like give me products or easier products into those really difficult ones. And yes, I do find it very satisfying kind of working on those really long haul products and those difficult products, because when you do finish them, you feel amazing. But in a project, having only those means that there will be like, you know, months and months, if not even like a full year before you even start making good progress on those products, depending on what product it is. So having those like easier products, it could be something that's almost finished, it could be something that shows very easy visible progress, stuff like that scattered in really does mean that you can stay motivated and like you still have some movement in the project while still working on those longer haul products. And I think that is something that is really, really important to do, because again, then you can move those easier products out, but also at the same time not neglect those really hard products to finish too, because it is something that you need to work on. At least if like you like me and you hoard things that are hard categories to finish, like eyeshadow palettes, eyeshadows in general, blushes, lip products, all of those are like a bit harder sometimes to finish. But that's my problem categories, and unfortunately those take a long time to finish, which is not the best combination, so I do need to kind of work on them if I want to get my numbers down. But in order to feel motivated, I kind of include other products that are easier to finish in between, if that makes sense. And then the last tip that I have for this video is a little bit more of a, I don't know, like a cliche, kind of maybe slightly cringy tip, and that is to remember that product planning should be fun. So you should enjoy your product planning. You shouldn't feel like it's a chore. If you're absolutely hating a product, you don't have to finish it. You don't have to keep working on it. If you're not enjoying it, you probably, again, if you're like me, or if you have, you know, a decent amount of products in your collection, makeup in your collection, you probably have something that you like more. So if you're not enjoying it, it is okay to roll it out or declutter it. I mean, you don't even have to declutter it if you don't feel like it. So if it's something that doesn't work for the season, but you know that, you know, once autumn comes around, I will enjoy this again, you can roll it out, even though maybe your initial rule was to finish the product. It is okay to change your mind. Same thing as it's okay to declutter things if you're not enjoying them. And just remember that in order to make good progress on your products, it needs to be fun, it needs to be motivating, it needs to be something that you enjoy doing, because otherwise you start, you know, treading into the territory of hate panning, which is fun for absolutely no one. It is not fun for you, it's not fun if you're making videos or updating people, it's not fun for people to watch that, because it's just not enjoyable. You want people to enjoy the makeup, and that is the whole point of makeup, I think, is to enjoy it and, you know, kind of have fun. It's creative, it's an outlet, it's fun. So make sure to make your product plans fun as well, and that is really something that is needed, I think, to be successful. So those are my 5 tips that I have for product planning in general. And of course, again, some of the product planning tips that I gave in my last 2 videos are also applicable to everything else, but I did want to again separate them because I feel like they are a bit more targeted depending on the category that you're planning. But I really hope you have enjoyed this mini series. Like I said in the other 2 parts, if you have any additional tips, please do leave them down below, both for me, because I would love to hear any tip that I can, you know, hear, anything that can help me make progress on my projects. That would be helpful, and also for other people as well. If you want more tips, not just from me but from other planners, make sure to check out the comments, and hopefully you guys can help each other out. But yeah, I hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye guys.